agentic AI, and I will include agentic AI because that's one of the biggest game changers coming our way soon. So we're going to talk about that as well after we talk about the AI Act. So yeah, it says I'm interested in AI prompting agents and governance for the legal team. Okay. I'm a developer working on low code platforms and using AI skills. I'm interested in learning more about agentic AI again. I'm developing an AI app and would like to know a bit more about how the act impacts it. Okay, we'll cover all of that. Well, Stelios, whenever you're ready, we can get going. Maybe you
Yeah,
can
sure.
scroll down to
Yeah,
the
let's get
AI
started.
Act page.
Maybe you'd like to start with an intro about yourself.
Okay. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the webinar from Tesseract Academy together with Dr. Stylianos Kambakis. I would like to thank Linus and Fabio for their support and for their networking. I'm involved in AI primarily and fintech. I am involved in applying AI in fintech, and I'm have been attracted to AI ever since it came out with ChatGPT because it took it from academia straight into mainstream usage, and now everybody uses ChatGPT. Now, it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. We're going to talk a little bit about the disadvantages. For one, we have deep fakes, we have hallucinations, we have rampant copyright infringement, and some people use it for propaganda. So, for this reason, the European Union came out with the AI Act in different phases where they're going to assess how people use AI in what capacity, and they will also look at safe usage of AI and promoting AI development in the EU. Now we have this convergence of different technologies: artificial intelligence, quantum computing, Internet of Things, blockchain, robotics, agentic AI, and all of this are very useful technologies that will improve our productivity, but at the same time, we run a risk that a lot is going to be abused. For example, people using now Mid-Journey to create videos, and they just use everybody's copyrighted material, pictures, voices, and so even Mid-Journey now is being sued by Paramount and Universal because they have been doing that, and it's going to become a problem. And one of the biggest problems about this is in in the near future we will not be able to discern between reality and fake. Everything is going to look so real that you will not be able to see whether something is real or not. And the A Act of Europe specifies that if something has been made with AI, it needs to be specified, and there must be a summary of the copyrighted material that has been used in creating a certain film, video, or song. So the A Act has five key principles. Number one, it's risk-based regulation. So they're looking how high is the risk. If it's a low risk, the application of the AI Act is not as stringent as when it's high risk. Prohibited practices, facial recognition, using it for to influence people, manipulate people, propaganda is not allowed. Obligation for high risk AI, infrastructure, network, computer networks, all of that is considered high risk AI because if something goes wrong, it can affect a large parts of society. Then we talk about transparency and documentation. Everything has to be transparent and documented. And for this reason, we have the ISO 42001, which is the artificial intelligence management system. And then enforcement and oversight. So there's going to be a board that's going to do the enforcement and oversight for the AI Act of Europe. And it'll be an European international. It'll be the European. Oh, I'm sorry. It'll be the European Artificial Intelligence Board, and the non-compliance fines will be tremendous. So it'll be up to 35 million euros for transgression, and it can be up to 7% of global revenues. Now, Nvidia has a market cap of $4 trillion. So you can imagine that if they get a fine, they will have big problems. I don't think it's ever going to come that far, but it's just to give you an idea. Just recently, Monzo got fined 21 million pounds for transgressions on AI and other regulations. And Starling Bank had a fine of 31 million pounds. And even Revolut, they have had some problems with the documentations and KYC and AML, and they are now waiting for their banking license, which now has been put on hold. So uh, they are taking this very serious, and for that reason, we are looking to see how AI Act is applicable not only in the EU, but also in the UK, the United States, and the rest of the world. Because basically, by extension, the AI Act is for Europe and the 27 countries within Europe. But any country that provides any artificial intelligence, um, SaaS companies which provide agentic AI, anybody that provides any kind of service or product that has AI to the European Union is by extension subject to the laws of the AI Act of Europe. We'll go to the next page, Dr. Stylianos. So we have the AI compliance framework. We start off with the ISMS, which is the Information Security Management System. Basically, it's an umbrella for all the regulations and acts that come underneath that needs to be followed. Now, a lot of them are not mandatory, maybe not yet, but the AI Act is mandatory. So secondly, we have SOC2, which is secured client data. It's onboarding and offboarding of employees and managing policies and documents. Basically, it's not mandatory. It's optional to have SOC2. But if you have attestation, it demonstrates your organization's ability to keep customer and client data secure. The important ones are the ISO 27001, which is the international gold standard for information security management. And then you have the ISO 42001, which is the international standard for artificial intelligent management system, AIMS. Now, so you can remember, those two are quite important because they set the groundwork and the framework for a company to comply with the AI Act. So to remember, ISO 27001 is in relation to data and documentation and information, whereas ISO 42001 is in relation to artificial intelligence. Then we have the next one, which is American based from NIST. It's AI Risk Management Framework, which is intended for voluntary use and to improve the ability to incorporate trustworthiness into the design, development, usage, and evaluation of AI products, services, and systems. And then last but not least, we have DORA, which is the Digital Operational Resilience Act. So the European Union regulation aimed at strengthening the digital operation resilience of financial entities and their third-party ICT service providers. It establishes a harmonized framework across the EU to manage ICT risk, respond to cyber attacks, and ensure business continuity within the financial sector. So basically, the bigger your company is, the more you will be using the 6 elements of the AI compliance framework. For once, it is good because then you are prepared for anything that might go wrong, like a cyber attack or a breakdown of the network. but also it will be good for reputation because it will show that you are taking it serious. Compare it to GDPR. GDPR, when it first came out, people thought, well, who cares? It's privacy, it's paperwork, whatever, until they started getting fines and started getting prosecuted. And so now a lot of countries that haven't even signed up to the GDPR are using the GDPR framework to safeguard privacy and documents and so on. But we're talking about documents and information, whereas the AI Act is concerning artificial intelligence. Now, in my opinion, artificial intelligence can be very beneficial for us, but it can be also very detrimental if it goes into the wrong hands. To give you an example, I compare it a little bit to the nuclear power. When it first came out in the 70s, we had nuclear power and everybody was against it. They said we're going to have radiation, people are going to die, and so on and so on. And then we had some misfortunes. We had Chernobyl explosion, we had Fukushima, we had 3 Mile Island in the US. And now, even 2 years ago, in Zaporizhzhia, President Putin threw a bomb, which it could have gone horribly wrong. And we don't know, countries like Iran might have nuclear weapons, or even North Korea. So we have a treaty that governs this, and it protects us that we use nuclear power to our benefit. For example, France, 70% of the electricity produced in France is produced via nuclear power. It's one of the cleanest energy sources you can have. It's infinite, and it's become safe after 50 years of constant development. It's become safe as long as you don't dispose of the uranium rods into the ocean. You have a clean energy source, and France actually exports their energy to neighboring countries. So we need to approach artificial intelligence with the same caution and concern as we do with nuclear power, because artificial intelligence in the right hand can do us a lot. I even think if we combine AI and quantum computing, we might even find a cure for cancer. But AI in the wrong hands, in the hands of bad actors, can be used, abused. So you can have cyber attacks, you can have um, breakdown of networks, and so on. So it's very important to discern between those two. And for that reason, we need to have regulation, and there needs to be ethics. We cannot just take people's copyrighted material and make movies. We cannot just take information from the internet and use it to train large language models without the permission of the copyright owners. So, inside of the AI Act, we have FRIA, which is the Fundamental Rights Impact Assessment. This is the customized risk assessment designed for identifying and mitigating potential AI risks. So basically, you need to undertake a FRIA, a fundamental rights impact assessment, whenever you're developing a system using artificial intelligence that might affect human beings on a large scale. So, for example, the internet, it could be hacked, and we could be without internet and not be able to do anything, because everybody uses the internet and their smartphones to do business, to pay, to find something, to do something. So that would be a high risk environment that would require a FRIA. Now, if you're doing a marketing campaign for McDonald's, you don't have to do a FRIA, even if you use AI to evaluate which would be the interesting customers. But the FRIA is something that is part of the AI Act and is compulsory and mandatory. We go to the next one, the single point of failure. You will recall about 2, 3 weeks ago in France and Spain and Portugal, well, north of southern France, there was a power outage. They just didn't have any power. Everything just died out, and nobody could do anything because they couldn't use their phones, they couldn't charge their phones, they couldn't take the train, nothing. So, what is a single point of failure? It's a part of a system that would stop the entire system from working if it were to fail. The term single point of failure implies that there is not a backup or redundant option that would enable the system to continue to function without it. That means if it doesn't have a backup system, you have a big problem. Another example, recently there was a fire at Heathrow Airport in one of the substations, and the whole airport stopped working. They couldn't fly planes, everything was delayed, and they couldn't reboot their computers because that would take time. So the backup systems were not in place to back up the failure of the power station, so that if one power station is on fire, you can take electricity from another substation. And they didn't have the possibility to reboot the airport's computers so that planes could start flying. This was a disaster, and everybody's blaming everybody, but it was just one single point that got interrupted, which was the power supply, which put the whole system out of work. Now, just imagine this happens in the telecommunications, it happens on the internet. If one cyber attack can just cut off a complete area, you have a big problem. And that is one of the reasons that we have regulation and supervision by human beings, so that we don't face this problem and that we can safeguard ourselves from such situations. We'll go to the next slide, Stylianos, if you please.
Uh, what's the, shall we talk, wait, um, so I think I got the ordering a bit different.
Go further down. Go, Dora, more down, 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 down. Free single point. AI. That's it.
Okay.
From my perspective, and from talking to experts and going to events, the main AI challenges that I see that we are facing, and it'll be in the near short term. Number one, super intelligence, artificial general intelligence. We don't know when it's going to happen. Some people say 5 years, some people say 10, some people say 50 years. I think it's going to come sooner than later. I don't know when, but we're developing and in the process losing control over our own technology. So we are developing something that is more intelligent than we are. And how are we going to control it? Then the workforce. AI is already replacing a lot of jobs, financial analysts, graphic designers, you name it. Even in Hollywood, there was 100 days of strikes because all the actors and the special effects people and people doing designs and so on, they know that they are going to lose their jobs because AI can do it faster, better, and AI can work 24 hours, doesn't need a smoke break, doesn't need to go on holidays, and is never sick, and has millions and millions of data points to gather information and come to a certain conclusion. And that's where agentic AI comes in, and we'll talk about it in a second. Number three, reality. Questioning what is real or fake as a result of deep fakes and rampant copyright infringement of all data scraped from the internet and other sources. So ChatGPT 3 has has been trained, and it used 175 billion parameters. That's a massive amount of data that's been used to train the ChatGPT, and we're not looking at ChatGPT 4 yet or ChatGPT 5, which is going to be much more of data parameters used to train the large language model. So now, lately, Anthropic came out with a platform for finance, and their large language model is trained on data that they have acquired, that they have rights over. So they take this data and they use it specifically for finance. Now, the big banks found it quite an interesting business concept because they can take this data, the banking and financial data, and sell it, which means we as customers, using perhaps blockchain or tokenization or tokens, could sell our information to those banks or data brokers who then sell it on to the ones that want to buy it to train their LLMs. So we are slowly seeing the development of a new business model of large language model training. And this starts in finance, and I'm sure medical will follow, and all the other big AI platforms that use AI for to develop a certain product or service. So maybe we can go to the next slide, Stelios. The key takeaway number one that I would like to talk about is Compliance to existing and upcoming AI regulation is not only essential but paramount. It will simplify your compliance to any regulatory framework and it will save you money in the long run. Now, as we mentioned before, from the 6 elements, it's not mandatory to have all of them, but the more you have, the better it is. And if you're a bigger company, the more you can show that you're taking the whole situation of GDPR in the first instance, but more importantly, AI very seriously. And you have the guardrails and the backups and the systems in place to react quickly when things go wrong. Uh, Go to the second takeaway, if you don't mind, Stelios, one down. So if we start now, it will prevent in achieving regulatory compliance when very soon every tech company will scramble to get accredited. Right now, people are noticing that AI Act is going to affect them, especially if you're, let's say, a provider of AI agentic in finance. You will need all 6 elements. You'll need the ICOs, you need the DORA, you need the SOC 2, all of it to prove that you have everything in place just in case something goes wrong and you need to react immediately. Let's go to the next screen, Stylianos, if you please. So the last takeaway, being certified and accredited will convey trust and reliability to your clients and present opportunities to onboard new business. The rule that I say to myself, prevention is always better than cure. So stay ahead and start now. Now, on the last part that I want to say is a lot of companies that might be following a lot of um, people that are watching now on Zoom might think, well, it doesn't apply to me. I'm just a small tech company or a small fintech company. This will be 10 years from now. It's not. And the problem will be that when you need to be certified to be able to get your fintech banking license, you will be waiting to get first approved by the ISO auditors and to get certificated for all those different certified certificates that you need so that you can go and apply for to provide your services in the EU and in other countries. And if you're a big company, the bigger the company is, the longer it takes to get certified because you have so many departments, you have so many headcount, you have people that don't even know anything about each other. Operations department doesn't talk to the developers, it doesn't talk to the finance department, it doesn't talk to the marketing department. If you're small, you learn from the beginning how this thing operates, how it works, and it's an ongoing process. When you do a management system, you have to input the data and make sure it's correct and keep it up to date. This must be done by a human being. So you need whoever is doing that to be in charge and to know, and everybody within the company needs to know what they have to do in case of something go wrong. If there is a cyber attack, you don't need somebody from the marketing department to try to solve it. You need somebody that is a developer or a coder. And so for that reason, when you start small, you can build up the framework. It will go faster, it'll be cheaper, and you will have built up a certain system to prove that you are taking AI regulation and ethics seriously. Afterwards, as your company